Welcome to another stage analysis video. It's Wednesday the 10th of April 2024. Just want to do a brief midweek video just highlighting yet more new features on the stage analysis website before a little run through of what's going on in the indexes and short-term breadth. So this week I've been working some more on the sub-industries bell curve. We're going to have, this is also going to be available for the industry groups and the sectors as well. So if I quickly flick through to that, you can see this is the industry groups, for example, so you can see what's going on with these. So at the moment, for example, construction materials is the only industry on 100% on SATA 6 or more. Basically, we've also got the groups underneath, so you can see energy strongest at the moment at 80%. You've got capital goods, materials at 60 and 65% there. Then at the bottom end, you've got 0% of telecommunication services on the SATA 6 plus from that group. So I think there's 29 or 25 groups. So, and then we've got the sectors bell curve as well, which we've also got as the classic chart that I've been doing for the last 10-12 years or so. So you can see energy strongest at the moment with 80.28% of the energy sector on a SATA 6 or greater, i.e. they're in a healthy technical position. So go back on here, so we'll come back to the actual bell curve page, so you can see the development of the bell curve from just the standard non-coloured version. So this has got the sectors highlighted on the chart as well, so those of you who have already been using it will understand already, but it's got all of the sectors colour coded. So the lime is consumer discretionary, the light blue is technology, for example, residential, REITs is the purple, red is industrials, I think the teal is materials, and the dark green is staples, and orange is communication services, maybe. But basically what I'm going to do is have a key underneath the table. Also going to be adding a bunch of new features as well. So we've got if I scroll down the page here, you can see them listed in order of SATA score at the moment. So added some new features this week. So one, if you click on the name of the group, so for example if I click on oil and gas storage and transportation, we get the slide out panel, shows you the individual stocks within the group, how many stocks are in the group, what the SATA score is, what their change on the week is, what the Mansell relative strength score is, what the change in relative strength is. So you can order by change, you can look at what ones, so for example ETRN is the only one that's had a positive change. You can click through to the individual stock using either the ticker or the name. You can order by relative strength, you can order by the change in relative strength, so you can see 4 of this sub-industry have had a positive change in relative strength this week, but only 1 has had an actual gain in its stage analysis technical attribute score here. So you can just click out to get out of the groups. All you got to do is, if you click on the actual area, you won't go anywhere, but if you click outside of it, it goes away again. So what I've done today is to actually get that onto the bell curve itself, because I think it's really important and much more useful to do it in a visual way than just going down through the list view. It's when you start to see the changes in this on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, you'll see groups starting to move. So for example, technology might move across here, for example, and then you'll start to see that. But you can now click on these, it will open the panel. You can see which stocks are in the technology, hardware, storage and peripherals group. So Apple, for example, is in here. Western Digital is the current leader in this group. So by pure relative strength, SMCI is the leader, but in terms of the SATA score at the moment, Western Digital is the current leader, because SMCI has been going sideways for a while now and starting to pull back. So for example, if I clicked into that, went onto the page, come into the actual stock page for it, you can see that it's been pulling back now for 5 weeks or so. Relative strength has been tailing off and the SATA score has been declining. So while its overall Mansell relative strength score is the strongest by far, and the strongest potentially in the S&P 1500 from memory, it's not the leader at the moment in this group. Western Digital is, and so it's starting to underperform. You see it's had a -1 this week and started to drop down. Its relative strength has been dropping down this week. So it's a combination of these of how you can see what's going on in the individual groups. So what we can do now with this being added into here, so you can hover over these to see the full names. I'm potentially going to change these to tickers soon. So what you can do is you can just click on any of these and it opens it up, and then you can click on the next one, it'll flick through. You can see you don't have to do it in any order, you can just go to whichever ones are of interest and it will show you which stocks are in each group. So at the moment, because of only using the S&P 1500 stocks, which I'm going to be upping to the full US market later in the month, they've got a few that only have a couple stocks or a single stock in them. So some in the 100% range will only have one stock in them. So it's 100% because it's at 6 or above on the SATA score, and same on the 0% column. So it will look more like get rid of that. It will look more like what we see with the industries once we've got more stocks in, as there'll be less at either end of the ranges and more in the middle ranges. So coming back to this, so as I said, you've now got the ability to quickly go through any of these, change to whichever ones you want, see what's going on, and you can then click through to the individual stocks. So you can see on here at the moment we've got these all having a minus on the week change. So if you were looking for stocks to on the short side, potentially you look for the minus changes, and on the long side you're looking for the positive changes. And we can use all of this data in different ways in terms of market breadth as well. So CRC, for example, in the oil and gas exploration production group, has had the strongest change this week and is up to a maximum score of 10. It's only just crossed its zero line at 1.51 here. So if I click into this chart, you can see it's just starting to clear the zero line. It's just starting to break out. So it's actually potentially attempting to return to stage 2 after moving into stage 3 and a failed stage 4 attempt, and then starting to base and turning back up again. So it's got a new stage 2 continuation attempt going on in that one. You can see strong sector here, so very strong at 80%. It's the strongest sector at the moment. Very strong industry at 84%, and the sub-industry at 86%. So again, in the stock page, you can go into the individual groups. It also highlights it on the stock page where it is relative to its group. So you don't get that on the bell curve chart because you're not on the stock page, so anything is not selected, you're only looking at the whole group. But on the individual stock page, it will highlight where it is relative to its group, and it will also highlight where it is relative to its sector. So potentially going to add this for the industry groups, and I might change the links from down here to these panels so that you can click into any of these and it does the same thing. So again, if we go back to the bell curve, just to highlight that once more, so you can go into these and see what's going on. There's also another feature in here which I haven't said yet, which if you hover over the name of the group, and you don't want them to just be in the side panels here, you hover over the name, click on that, it will take you off to an individual page where you can then go through the stocks on the page. Especially if it's a long page, you might prefer this to the side panel, and then you can do it by change and you can start opening them up to your heart's content. So that's another way that you can potentially use it. So as I said, going to be continuing to develop this. I think it's a really, really powerful feature on the website. So what we're going to be doing is highlighting the changes. So tomorrow my backend developer is going to be getting me the data for the relative changes of these. I'm going to start to load those in. So we'll have the 1 week change, 2 week, 4 weeks, 13 weeks. We'll also start getting, for each one of these individual sub-industries and industries, etc., we're going to have line charts. So at the moment, for example, if we go down here, any of these at the moment, so say it's on investment banking and brokerage, so say you wanted to look at that, we will be able to go into that, look at a line chart of it based on its SATA scores from the however long I decide to do it for, probably be the last few years or so, and then we'll be able to see how that's charted. And then this is another way you'll be able to use this data. We'll be able to reference them. Every single sub-industry will have its own chart based on its SATA score data. So I think that's also going to be a really powerful breadth tool as well. So some of the new features on the bell curve front. So I'll go back to the web pages those of you who haven't yet seen, we've got the ETF summary now, and that shows the SATA score, Mansfield relative score, and the changes on the week. So you can see at the moment QQQ, IWM and Dow Jones all having a negative week this week in terms of dropping in their SATA scores. We've now got the Dow down to a SATA 3 here, so just dropping through its 10-week moving average here. You can see that the SATA score has dropped off from a 10 back earlier in the year when it was at this point through here, got to a 10 up there, and it's been slowly waning since, now starting to roll over. So you can see now it's got down to the weak zone. Mansfield relative strength is below the 0 line, which it often is with the Dow because it's compared to the S&P 500. So we're now, technical attributes are getting weaker. We're in what we call stage 2B minus position. So it's like the opposite to stage 4B minus, as you potentially put in a top and it's attempting to make some kind of significant pullback. Doesn't mean it's an ultimate top, but just means that there's some kind of swing high has developed and it's started to move back through its 50-day moving average, 10-week moving average, and it's moving back down towards the still rising 30-week moving average and still rising 200-day moving average. So whether it gets all the way back down to them or not is always an open question, but it is in position in a current short position as such, because it's in stage 2B minus position. So weakest of the major indexes at the moment. We've got the Russell 2000 and the QQQ both on a neutral 5 at the moment, so that's the middle score. So we're quick into the QQQ, for example, it's on a 5 of 10, so 10 is our maximum, 0 is our weakest, so completely neutral in the middle. And you can see again it's been dropping, its SATA score started to drop off. Highlighted this the other week that it started to roll over here. So if we draw the box, you can see the change here. So this week is the first week below the 6 level that it's had since the November low here. So again, not quite in stage 2B minus position yet, but it's on the borderline. So this one could also be turning into a near-term pullback position here if it continues. But the momentum part of it is waning a bit here, but still in a completely neutral position. As you can see, previous periods when it gets into stage 3 type positions, it can rebound back into strong positions again, but it's at the moment in the pullback phase, consolidating here. So just another way that you can use this data, again, you can do by Mansfield relative strength. We've got the US sectors, we've got some snapshots of some commodities, going to be adding a whole commodities page as well, and we've got the treasuries. So just a few things on that page. And then we've got the S&P 1500 stocks, which again is ordered by the SATA scores. So at the moment, you can see there's not many on a 10 currently. A lot of them are REITs. So if I highlight the word REIT, for example here, let's say that. It was REITs the other day. They have dropped off again today. Highlight, it's not REITs now. So we've now got, looks like energy is the domineering one in the 10s at the moment. So on Monday it was the REITs, but they've dropped back now. So have got this one's an outlier which needs to be removed. Now they've announced a merger, so that I've gone working on a way to get rid of stocks that have outsized positions based on things like mergers and that get delisted, as they don't come straight out of the data on the same day. So need to have a manual way to remove anything like that. But you can see in here at the moment, energy completely dominating on the max scores. If we look at the SATA changes, so let me go into this. This is where the REITs were, sorry. So if you look on SATA change, there's a bunch of REITs that have had a strong change. Again, that one needs to be removed. So I think some of these moved based on what that was doing. Centerspace has the wrong sub-industry at the moment. That's actually a REIT as well. So that one's going to be changed. I got them to change that on my data provider today. So it should be getting updated. So you can see by positive change here, and you can see by negative change. So if I quickly run, let me just make this bigger, just how many are So how many are on a plus score this week? You've got 157 this week that have had a positive change, and we've got 648 that have had a negative change. So what we got there, like 4 times as much. So it's a lot worse on the negative side at the moment. Okay, one thing else I wanted to do before I move back onto the major indexes was have a quick look at what's going on with the mega caps SATA charts here. So you can see Nvidia is the market leader really over the last year or so. A very, very clean stage 2 advance. Had only a brief move into stage 3 before recapturing stage 2 and make it a continuation. So recent pullback, so far holding it is 10-week moving average. The SATA score is still a very strong 8 at the moment, so relative strength still outperforming. The pullback has been on lighter volume as well, so still every chance that this could make yet another continuation, but it all depends on what's going on in the market. In terms of its sector, its group, you can see it's still very strong in its group, but we have got some areas in the group weakening here. So overall, the sector in information technology has got quite weak at only 34% at the moment, and the sub-industry is down to 39% here. We look at Microsoft, also same sector, sub-industry 31%, so it's in the system software near the top of the rankings for that, but you can see the majority in there are actually negative at the moment. So overall, compared to information technology, it's a fair way down, but still in the strong range on a SATA 7 at the moment. So similar to Nvidia, it's been going sideways for a good few weeks now. SATA score has dropped off a little bit, but still in the strong range. Google attempting to make a stage 2 continuation, so had a good stage 2 run, chopped around for a while, had this recent gap up, and then it's made a new continuation attempt, and the SATA score has got back to its maximum of a 10, but a little bit of a squat at the moment, could potentially double top here, but at the moment attempting to make that stage 2 continuation. You can see it's sub-industry at 50% at the moment, so it's only a small group at the moment in the S&P 1500. Version of this communication services, however, is very weak. As you can see, only 25% of those on a SATA 6 or above, so i.e. technically healthy. Amazon continuing make new highs in stage 2. SATA score down to an 8 here at the moment, but just had an exceptionally strong stage 2 run through here, so potentially stage 2 breakout through this week here. So at the moment on an 8, sub-industry and industry on 50%, and still in a weak sector. Consumer discretionary only on 36%, and it's near the top of the consumer discretionaries here, as you can see, but there's quite a lot in the weak range and neutral range for consumer discretionary at the moment. Apple, on the other hand, continuing lower in stage 4. So we had the stage 4 breakdown through here, so relative strength had fallen off a cliff already. You can see it broke below the 0 line back at this point, so never recaptured it on the rally. So this rally back up here made a lower high on the relative strength below its 0 line, then continued to roll over, so was weak for a while now, getting down to the bottom of the support from back in the end of last year, where it made it swing low. So potential support at the moment, but still on a SATA 0 in stage 4 at the moment, so still an IT 34% and 50% in the group, as I showed near the bottom end of the group at the moment. So Tesla in the automobiles, been in stage 4 for a little while now, so continuing lower. Relative strength been below the 0 line for a while and continues on a 0 at the moment. So automobile manufacturers have only got a small group on here at the moment in the S&P 1500, so a lot of those are in the small caps, etc. So they will come in once they start loading up the Nasdaq and the NYSE. Got a lot of the Chinese EVs, etc. in that group. So at the moment, sub-industry on a 40% there. Okay, let's move on to have a look at what's going on in the major indexes before I sign out. Just S&P 500 at the moment. So in the neutral range in the middle here, so between its plus 180R line and negative 180R line. So since the significant bar the other day, it hasn't managed to get back above the top of that range. So something I do with those significant bars is to look for the halfway point, as generally if they fail to get much back above that and start rolling again, then it tends to be a sign of weakness. So if you can quickly get back into the upper zone in the first 2 days, then it's normally just a pullback rebound, but this suggesting a little bit more weakness here. We can see the relative strength falling off a cliff here in terms of the percentage of stocks above their 20-day moving average. So we're down to only 34.2% of S&P 500 stocks above their 20-day moving average here as well. So getting closer to its 50-day, but still a long way above that rising 200-day moving average. The equal weighted chart, similar kind of position, just touching its minus 180R level today, still above its 50-day. Got 76.8% above their 200-day moving average at the moment, still low. So still very strong position overall for the S&P 500, still above rising moving averages, and a lot of stocks above their 200-day moving average. So Nasdaq on the other hand, again, significant bar the other day. If we draw the range across that, split that in half, so did manage one couple of days of briefly slightly back above the middle range, but then has rolled back over again, rebounded at that 50-day moving average today slightly, but very weak rebound there. So it's in a very tentative position here, could easily drop off a cliff, start to make a downtrend, but and a pullback. But at the moment, still consolidating, hasn't yet broken down from the base structure. There's always the chance it could spring, come back in again and flip back the other way, but again, still neutral position currently. So, but with only 34% above their 20-day moving average now. Equal weight, slightly worse, just below its minus 180R level, been back below the 50-day moving average on that, and you can see 69%, got a slight weakening with the percentage of stocks above their 200-day moving average to 69%. So if that starts to drop off, particularly below 60%, then that would be a warning, more of a warning there. But at the moment, if it can hold in this upper zone, then still fairly healthy, but a pullback seems to be going on at the moment still. Russell 2000, even weaker, below its 50-day moving average, and couldn't close back above it, only 23.67% above their 20-day moving average. It's broke back below this recent pivot, the stage 2 attempt. It's faltering a little bit here, but it is still in stage 2. If we look at it on the weekly, you can see the recent stage 2 run in this. So, but coming back towards the support from the range again. So, and then we look at the VIX, back above its 200-day moving average, once more pulling back, rebounding today, so continues to be in a dangerous position. Anything above the 200-day moving average is negative kind of position for this. So anything below is positive, anything above negative. So fairly simple with your VIX. Look at the bullish percent index intraday data. This remains in a short-term downtrend for the Nasdaq, and the NYSE has started to join it now. It was holding up better, but the last few days here, you can see it's fallen off a cliff a little bit. So dropped from 64 down to 61, so 3% of the NYSE stocks in the last few days have started to turn off of bullish percent signals, so point of figure buy signals. If we look at this on a slightly longer version, back to the November low, so you can see the Nasdaq starting to break down here a little bit. NYSE still holding up reasonably well, but we've now seen a break in below the moving averages. So as I said, on a negative signal at the moment, difficult environment for the short-term bullish percents, and then here's the longer-term version. So again, showing that breakdown level, and today with the NYSE also starting to break a recent pivot, but still compared to the November run there, so far it's still only a shallow move as such. So it could easily get a lot worse here and would still only be in pullback territory. And then finishing off here with the McClellan oscillator, I just wanted to to show this one, a little bit more of a short-term measure. So it's been flipping around recently, but has started to get a little bit more negative in the last few weeks. So you can see finally making a lower low again here. So not yet at an extreme low, so it tends to, you can see the extreme levels down here on both of these. So Nasdaq at the top and NYC, so if it can gets down into the more extreme ranges, then that tends to be places where you look for swing lows to develop. But at the moment, just in a normal range, but in a negative position for both. So again, difficult environment status for those. And then we're back to the start again. So just a reminder with the sub-industries bell curve here. So in order to get to this, so you can click either on here. I say either on here, that's the only way you can get to it other than the URL at the moment. And then, as I said, you can quickly click into any of these and see what's going on in the different groups. And if you want to click out of them, just click outside of the area. I will add a little cross or something to give you a close feature as well as clicking out of it. At the moment, these don't work on mobile properly. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it for the mobile, or if I'm going to do it for the mobile, as there's a lot going on in a small area, and you haven't really got the touch size for your fingers at that size. So I may make it available for the mobile, but it's to be decided really. So developing most of the features first for the desktop and then working on the mobile. So the mobiles are a little bit more limited at the moment. So right, well, I hope you like all the new features. I think this one for me is going to be an amazing game changer. Hopefully I'll start to make it so that you can potentially have little thumbnails of charts pop up as well quickly in these, so you can quickly, maybe like what Stock Charts does, whether you hover over it gives you a little thumbnail view or something that comes up, or maybe I'll have that in the list view, I don't know. But lots and lots of things to do with this. Actually, I was talking about this at the start, wasn't I, in terms of we're going to have stocks making positive change. So we're going to have a key for the sectors. We're going to have some buttons up here, some check boxes which you can select, and it will show the stocks having breakouts and breakdowns. So one will show, if you click on it, it will show you groups where it will show you all the groups with having breakdowns, and it will sort of grey out or white out the other ones, so you can then quickly select the ones that have got breakouts with just from the graphic. You can do the same with breakdowns. Was thinking of, so the ones with the positive change on the week, that's another feature I want to do. So if you tick that, it will show the ones rising and it will show the ones falling, and also going to use caps for rising, and I think, I'm still not sure, depends how it looks, and lowercase for not rising basically. So a few minor features with there which I think will add to it. There's lots of other ones that I've got in mind, but I will tell you about those once we're a little bit more developed with it. But I think this is going to be a really cool tool where you can quickly just scour through what's going on. So without having to go to the list view, you can quickly see which groups are on the move, where there's breakouts, and you can quickly just click into it, have a look, and then you'll be able to see that, or also highlight the breakouts in these, maybe just a little dot in the ticker name by the side of it with a green or a red dot if it's having a breakout or a breakdown, something like that. So just to give that so it doesn't take up any more space. So as I said, lots and lots of ideas and lots of ways that we can do this, and we're going to have this for the industries and the groups and the sectors as well as a really cool sort of feature. So we can do the stage analysis, forest to the trees approach, as obviously Stan Weinstein originally intended it. So I think this is gonna be great. So I hope you like it. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will be back at the weekend for the full video, having a look at what's going on in the market, look at the market breadth and all of the watch list, etc. So I will see you then. Thanks for watching.